We're live.
We're good.
1:04 p.m. Make sure I'm in the right time zone. And I'll go ahead and call the December District 21 Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Public comment is suspended for this, and I'll start with a roll call, noting that Commissioner McMurray is experiencing the technical difficulties with connecting to the internet that's going on in the Linden area. So unless she figures out another way to get on, we will go without her. So who else is here today?
Rich Mossman.
John Crawford.
Scott Fisher.
Jason Vanderveen.
Henry's muted.
Sorry about that. Henry Hollander.
All right, welcome, Henry.
Thanks.
And
Commissioner McMurray.
pardon me.
Commissioner McMurray's coming in.
Okay. We'll give Commissioner McMurray a second to log on, and then welcome our guest, Kathy Berg, and we'll see if she has any comments during the public comment forum. Mute. There you are.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you got the R2D2 voice today. Welcome, Commissioner McMurray. Understand you're having some connection issues today.
Yes. Sorry about that.
All right. All right. Just for those of you who don't know, the reason I'm wearing a mask is I have landed in the third highest COVID infected area in the United States. So Arizona is a great place to visit. You don't go out anywhere. All right. Our first item here is the Volunteer Pension Board meeting. So we'll open that up, and need a motion to approve the November 19 minutes.
Moved.
I think I heard a motion.
So moved.
A second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
Aye.
We have a new volunteer to approve. So why don't you give us a little background here?
Yes, sir. I'm asking today to approve Mr. Thomas Erickson as a tender support volunteer for Station 61 area. Mr. Erickson was a longtime police officer and retired from the city of Blaine. So he's someone that those of us that have been around for a while know. He'll be a valuable addition. He's got a CDL, so he's a verified good driver. And yeah, just want to welcome him to the team and ask him to bring him on board.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the addition of Thomas Erickson as a new volunteer?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Unanimous. And then we need to authorize a voucher for cost of a physical, which is $200, I believe.
Yes. Yep. Asking to approve that we can submit a claim for $200 to the Board of Volunteer Firefighters for reimbursement for 2 volunteer physicals for the total cost of $200.
Okay. So that's a reimbursement to us.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to submit that voucher?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous. Chief, is there anything else before the pension board?
No, sir.
All right, I'll move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous. Next, we will open a public hearing, which is required when we approve our annual budget. So due to all the CDC guidelines, et cetera, we aren't even able to meet in person, and it makes it difficult for the members of the public to meet and provide feedback. However, we've been given several opportunities, either live stream, Zoom webinar, or the opportunity to email our secretary in advance. And I did not get any notification of any emails. Jenny, was there any public request or comments?
Nope.
Okay, all right. And I do see that we have our dear friend Kathy Berg in attendance today. And if you're just here to listen, or if you came with a specific comment for us at the public hearing.
Thank you for acknowledging me, and I'm just here to listen because I have followed you enough to know that you're probably doing a darn good job.
Well, we appreciate your support, and as you know, as a side to this, we're going to be working on that RFA proposal, and people like yourself and the community are going to be vital to getting the word out. So hopefully we can call on you and others to help us push that thing through.
Absolutely. I'll be any help I can give, I'll do.
Thank you so much. All right, so with the public hearing being opened and no specific comments, I guess we can close that public hearing and talk about the budget in the regular session. If that sounds appropriate to you, Chief.
Yes. Yep.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing, and hopefully assume that people are happy with the job we're doing, or this is so darn difficult to provide feedback that they just don't have the right opportunity. But I didn't see any red flags when I looked at it, so I'm gonna open up the regular meeting. And Chief, you had presented to us in a budget study session the draft budget that we're going to be looking at further today, and my understanding that all board members and the public had an opportunity to provide input. And then there were a couple questions from that session that resulted in you providing some further information and documentation so that we could see the changes from 2020 to 2021. So I'll hand it over to you, and you can lead us through whatever it is that we need to know about that we maybe don't, or if the rest of the board has any specific questions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So yeah, we've provided you kind of the old school line by line budget comparison from 2018, 2019, 2020, and then proposed 2021. So you can see any changes. Unless someone wants me specifically to speak to something in one of the divisions, I'd like to actually move to the capital outlays that I laid out. I did not speak to those in our budget study session. I'm only asking for a few items, as once again, I'll say it again, just we're trying to kind of maintain status quo before we make hopefully a big leap to the RFA. What I'm asking for in capital outlay mostly affects the shop, and that's because of the kind of age of our apparatus, and with COVID, the slow replacement plan that we seem to be on. Two of the improvements are software and scan tools for both light duty and heavy duty trucks. Currently what we have, they have to be, in order to use our scan tools, they've got to be hooked to Wi-Fi. So they have to be back in the shop, which requires towing back to the shop. The new tools don't require an annual update. Or one of them does not require an annual update. One does, but it's it's far more reasonably priced than what we've been doing in the past. But the biggest thing is they both work off data. They both work out in the field, so they can, as opposed to having to get something towed back to the station and run it through the system, they can go out in the field and run things through the system and possibly do the repairs in the field. The other piece for the shop is a heavy duty torquing tool. Currently they use a torque wrench for a lot of things in the shop. Currently the one they use for the bigger items is about 6 feet long, and it takes about 3 people to operate. So they rely on the crew to help them. This is a one person battery operated, and it actually links to our operational software and will capture those torque values into the history of the vehicle. So anything that needs to be torqued, it's automatic. We're not relying on a handwritten piece. Protective clothing and equipment. We are trying desperately to get everybody on to the point where they have a set of bunker gear that's 0 years old and then 5 years old, or somewhere in between those two. So bunker gear lasts 10 years before it needs to be replaced. And that way, when firefighters go out, they get dirty at a fire, they can come back, they have their own set of clean gear to get into right away, as opposed to whether it's grabbing somebody else's gear or wearing their dirty gear for the rest of the shift. This gives them an immediate replacement. In the past, we've put in extractors and dryers to all the stations so that dirty gear can immediately be cleaned, which is great. But to have a second set is really becoming industry standard, and we all know that cancer has really touched our organization specifically. The other piece in there, I'm asking for $225,000 for to order additional aid car. This will give us 4 aid cars in staggered ages that will be new. This would be money to come out of capital apparatus, obviously to be replaced by GEMT funds. The last is $100,000 for the Stryker power load system. The county is purchasing out of EMS funds money Stryker power gurneys, which have a higher weight limit, and they essentially eliminate lifting and back injuries. They're a powered unit. The lifting is done with power, and these power load systems eliminate. It's a chassis that comes out of the aid car. You hook the gurney into it, and it literally picks the gurney up and loads it into the aid car with no effort or very little effort from the firefighters themselves. These are very common in places like Seattle, King County, and the fact that the county is going to spend well over $1 million to furnish the gurneys, but we have to buy the loading system. $100,000 will put the loading system in all 4 of our gurneys, in all 4 of our first out aid cars. The only other piece there, sorry, I forgot to speak to forcible entry prop. I asked for $8,000 in capital last year for forcible entry prop. We ended up not buying it because we actually identified that the one that we truly need is more expensive, and it fits into that $10,000 threshold. So those are my capital outlays for a total of $379,200. That would be the only addition to the budget from what I presented to you before.
And sorry, part of that is going to actually is the 100 and the 225 coming out of GEMT, Chief.
Sorry.
The money, the 100,000 and the 225.
Correct.
Would be coming out of GEMT.
Correct. Those would come out of GEMT funds.
So nice. that
Those,
we have
those
that
wouldn't truly be
really
capital.
coming out of our line item.
Correct. It would be out of capital and then be replaced by GMT funds.
Somehow I managed to turn my video off. Does anyone else have any comments? And is my video off now?
Yes, I think you got a little garbled there for a second as well.
Let's see what I can do here.
I
There we
think, I think that's exactly what the GMT money is designed for. So I think that's it's a good use of it.
Yeah, now we're just waiting for labor to build these things because COVID has impacted that, correct?
Right. We're expecting a late March delivery is what we've been told to expect. For the 2 that we ordered last year.
Okay, so with that said, we've got Resolution 2020-23 budget approval. I'd like to just make sure that we don't have any further questions for the chief before we go ahead and move forward with this. That's, as we've seen, it's a pretty much last year plus cost of living and maybe moving a few things around with the expectation that we're working hard on the RFA and our funding mechanism is going to change a little bit, but this pretty much looks like a just keep us rolling kind of budget, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else have any comments? None. All right, then I will entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2020-23 for the budget.
So moved.
Second.
One last chance for any further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I think I've got a unanimous budget approval. Thank you, Chief, for all your work and the staff as well in the midst of getting RFA numbers and audit numbers and everything else that's going on and COVID, et cetera. It's I'm sure been a challenging time for everyone.
Yeah, I'm going to step out for just a couple minutes. I'll be back.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. So I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Scott. Someone's awake out there.
I'll second it.
All right, moved and seconded. Does anyone have any items in there that you want to pull out or discuss? All right, let me get back to my agenda. Sorry. All right, so the consent agenda consists of the meeting minutes from November 17th, the special meeting, the November 19th regular meeting, staff reports, the financial reports. The total revenue for November was $1,139,689.37. The total expenditures for December were $729,999.41. Get my, sorry. Employee direct deposit payroll, $306,035.80. Payroll taxes voucher, $62,852.50. Benefits voucher, $265. $92.61. Monthly expenditure voucher, $96,018.50. And then my agenda disappears. Hang on. I guess that's it. All right. Does anyone have any questions or comments or concerns? Chief, maybe you could just highlight some of the stuff that was in your chief's report. I know that we've gone through some hiring process, and maybe you can enlighten us on that. I know that some of the staff put in a lot of time and effort on all that.
Let me get to that here.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. It's actually it's further down in unfinished business, but I can address it now if you want me to. So we've completed the entry and lateral firefighter hiring process. We had about 71 applicants, 50 signed up to come in for what we call speed interviews, which is a short interview. It's 5 questions with a panel. From those speed interviews, 17 were selected to move forward to a more formal oral board, which is the kind of half an hour, 45 minutes, 10 questions made up of their peers. So it was a captain, a lieutenant, and 2 firefighters. From there, the field whittled down to 8 to the chief's interview. I conducted the chief's interview with, I do it with, it's my interview, but I do it with the bargaining unit representative, Ken Cunningham, in attendance. And actually, because there was just 2 of us, I had made sure that we had 3 people in there so that there was no questions about what we talked about. And Kelly Freeman, our HR, assisted with that. And that was the hardest personnel decision I've ever had to make. Those were 8 very close candidates. It was about a 2-hour discussion once we had completed the interviews. The interviews took place over 2 days, and it was about a 2-hour discussion to try to whittle down who placed where. They were all excellent candidates. It was pretty impressive to see what the oral board panels had done in selecting the candidates to that point. We extended conditional offers to the top 4 candidates. One of them is a recent graduate of the State Fire Academy, so there will not be any expense in training. This will bring us up to just about full staff for a short period of time before we lose to the medic class. But we hired 4 excellent candidates. I mean, they're exceptional. They're well-rounded. They range in age from young folks to people with a little bit more life experience. And we're super excited to have them on board. They will be attending North Bend. We've done some research and feel like that's a safe option for them to go to North Bend, attend the State Fire Academy, which is great. They'll be leaving in late January. Once they pass all of their pre-employment requirements, they've gone through their psychological examinations so far and have yet to do medical and background checks. So I just want to thank all the firefighters that were part of the interview panels. Also, before we met, none of our questions had been gone over in years. We were kind of using the same stale questions. So we actually got a group of firefighters and fire officers together to look at the questions we asked the candidates. And it was fun to watch. It was fun to watch the candidates' faces as they were asked some pretty non-traditional questions, such as, what's the last thing you fixed besides your computer or phone? So yeah, it was really fun to watch. And I can't thank the admin staff and especially Kelly Freeman enough for her tireless efforts. She spent a lot of time in the evening calculating things, calculating scores, and making sure that letters were getting out on time and that people were contacted, knew what was going on. We did have a shift, and she with COVID restrictions or safety items where we were going to do an in-person interview. for the speed interviews, and at the last minute we switched him to a Zoom interview, and that went off flawlessly. So I can't thank her enough for all the work she did. But it goes to everybody here in the office pulled together to pull this off. So that's where we're at there. Also, Sean Ward is moved up to the temporary division chief of operations. Every day he comes into my office and asks, what can I take off your desk? So it's been a big help to have him here. He's getting able to take care of some of the stuff that I just can't seem to get to. We've had Benita and I had a Zoom meeting with our folks that calculate GEMT for the kind of close off the end of the year. We went back over the data and signed some more paperwork, and they're anticipating between $700,000 and $800,000 of GEMT revenue in 2020, spring of 2021. RFA planning has kind of taken a little bit of a hold this month, just due to some outside influences, as well as budget and hiring and all this other stuff. But we're continuing to shuffle papers back and forth and trade emails. The firefighters took part in the community assistance Thanksgiving program, helped not quite how they have in the past because of COVID restrictions, but they were still an instrumental part. And I know that the Blaine community had nothing but good things to say, and thanks for the guys and gals that were able to get up there and help out. So, and then I left off with an appreciation note. Just wanted to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience, and you're giving me a chance to learn, and gentle guiding when I needed it through this last year. It's been, I heard one of my favorite podcasters about leadership talks about how if you would have asked him 2 years ago to put down 20 worst case scenarios, aliens would have been on the list before global pandemic. So we made it through this year, it appears. We're not out of the woods yet, but we're starting to get some tools that we can use to keep our folks a little bit safer and their families safer. And I think we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But thank you very much for the past year. I appreciate all that I've learned from you, and look forward to continuing to be your fire chief. I think there's a lot of great times ahead. So.
Great, thank you, Chief. So we have a motion and second to approve the consent agenda, and got a great update from the chief here. Any other questions or concerns? If not, all those in favor of the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I guess we lost Kimberly, huh?
Yeah, I think she froze up and then dropped off.
All right, so just note that technical difficulties, Commissioner McMurray is not here, but the remaining commissioners voted in favor of the consent. Any commissioner meeting report? John, have you had anything going on?
I've been in talks with the city of Bellingham, a couple of the county commissioners. The topic of joining communication centers has been brought back to light. And on the county fire side, as well as the city side, we're opposed to joining centers. That was the consent last year. There are some people on the county council that need to be educated why we did that. However, they want to maybe talk about resuming and coordinating that. So that's kind of the hot topic on the block right now. And again, we're going to have a Zoom meeting in January to talk about it more. So that's about the only thing that's really going on.
Okay, anyone else?
I was at a state meeting a short while ago where they were talking about the vaccine distribution, and firefighters are in a second group to be given the vaccine. Have you heard anything on that, Chief, or do we have any plans on that?
So In Whatcom County, firefighters have been classified as what they're calling 1A, which is the top tier.
1A.
Folks to get the vaccine. Nobody knows the rollout date. Nobody knows when, but we're preparing lists of those that want to get the vaccine, and if they hit any of the high risk categories. And right now they're just looking for the numbers. They want to make sure that that they have enough vaccine to be able to do both vaccinations. And also the fire chiefs got together yesterday and we discussed what we call vax vaccinations. So not doing our entire group of employees at once in case it sounds like there are some side effects or some residual effects from the vaccine. So we'll probably try to do them staggered so that we're not wiping out our entire workforce all at once. But planning is underway, and once we get a date, we'll be ready to go. It's all being coordinated through the county health department.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah, Rich, I got a message from my son who works in King County, and he said that he's scheduled to be vaccinated next week.
Oh, man, they're moving fast then.
Yeah.
Good.
So it's nice to hear that frontline people are getting it early. So we're getting so as stated, Commissioner McMurray is having technical difficulties. And, we'll see what we can get back from her. Otherwise, we'll move on. Local 106 report. I didn't hear anything from Kenneth, and I just wanted to reiterate on your comments, Chief. The CAP Thanksgiving basket program. I know that our people participate in that every year, and this year was significantly more challenging, but it sounds like they stepped up once again, and we certainly appreciate that. It certainly bodes well on our image as helpers in the community. So, Henry, I don't know if you were involved with that or any comments.
Nope. Yep. I did the turkeys like I do every year. Mike Nelson's really the guy that spearheads that. I think he deserves most of the thank you.
All right.
He coordinates that all year long and it gets all the groups together. So I would give him the credit.
All right. Thank you. Chief, perhaps if you could pass on our thanks to Mike and all those that you know of that participated, we certainly do appreciate their help.
Yep, we'll do.
I'm not aware of any current legal issues, and we don't have our legal counsel here today because of that. So unless you've gotten any late breaking news, Chief.
None. Nope.
Okay. Thank you. Unfinished business, Regional Fire Authority Planning Committee. There are draft minutes out there for everyone's review. I believe we're looking at second week of January or somewhere in there for our next meeting.
Like Thursday the 14th.
Thursday the 14th.
January 14th. If did I already, did I? No. All right.
You're back from here.
What time is that going to be?
What's that?
What time?
Okay.
10 a.m.
I'll send out an invite.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
11 a.m. your time.
Yeah. Thank you. Fortunately, my laptop is still on Pacific Standard Time, so If I look at my phone, I'm off, but if I look at my laptop, I'm on. I'm good. So personnel recruitment, was that your report you gave us already?
Yes, sir.
No one else in the hopper.
No.
We've got a testing process for lieutenant and captain sometime going to ramp up, what, early next year?
Yes. So that tentatively the posting will go out the first week in January, first full week in January. We are working on arranging some training for the applicants, some IFSAC training here locally, and then we'll conclude with the test. And that's always been the goal, is to have we'll call it an officers academy in the workup to the test, so that everybody gets the opportunity to learn from the same thing, and then take the and then test. You apply it at the assessment center. So, yep, that's first quarter of 2021.
All right, and then we also have the outstanding issue of an assistant chief position that will need to be filled permanently at some point.
Yes.
Just never enough work to do, is there?
Yeah, it's all good.
Sorry. All right, we'll move on to new business resolution 2020-24, the 2021 meeting dates. I think the expectation is to continue on the third Thursday of the month, hopefully someday back at Station 61, but it seems like for a while anyway, we're still going to be on Zoom. Is that going to work out for everyone for the most part? It seems to be working well for myself anyway, and I know the staff probably appreciates not having to start a meeting later in the day. Anybody have any ideas, thoughts, or changes, or can we go ahead and move forward with that date, those dates? If you're happy, I need a motion to approve that resolution.
So moved.
All
Second.
right, I'm moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous? We've got a AMCUS rescue tool, resolution 2020-25 to surplus. Chief, would you like to tell us about that?
Yes, sir. So this is an heavy old rescue tool. It includes a power unit, spreaders, cutters, and a ram unit. And I'm asking to surplus it, as it's extra equipment that we're not using currently. We're not going to use. We've moved on to a different style of tool.
All right, so is there a motion to surplus the AMCUS rescue tool?
Moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you, Chief.
So just for transparency, this tool's it's going to be donated to the airport. Their tool is their rescue tools are ancient. It's truly the best, their first generation, best way to describe it. And this will greatly benefit the airport. Get rid of a combo set that they had. That combo set in turn is being donated to firefighters in Mexico. So
Keep on giving.
nothing's going in the garbage.
Yeah. Nice.
Bruce, can I give a little bit of update on the Mexico program?
Please.
Okay, so they received their amulets back in, I believe it was June. Anyway, they also received their Darley here just a couple months ago. They had a ceremony on Monday where both those and all the equipment that got donated to Union de Telo, the city of, and I butchered that, and I'm sorry. They had a big ceremony, and showed all the equipment. They brought in their city administration, thanked everybody. North Wacom it was very much appreciated for them to receive the apparatus and tools from North Wacom. They do have some type of award that we're going to be given here in the next couple months. So it's being transferred from Mexico to us. So once I get more information about that and how we'll get that, I'll present it to the board. But they took some pictures, things came up on Facebook. I shared that with Jenny. I guess Kelly's going to get those out to the Friends of North Wacom page, so you can kind of see what's going on there. But they're up and running calls with that stuff, and like I said, they're greatly appreciated of it.
Very good. Thank you for helping coordinate that and keeping us updated. It would be kind of cool to be able to have some historic pictures that we can post maybe at headquarters or wherever. But look forward to hearing from them and actually seeing some of the pictures.
Mr. Ansel, before we move on to correspondence, could we give Henry a chance to speak?
Uh-oh. Did I diss Henry again?
I'm just fine. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Everything is probably moving as well as could be expected. Unfortunately, Joel's been on light duty for a few days, or for a few weeks, so that has brought him into the office so that we've been able to work side by side for the last couple of weeks. And we've already started the transition. So Joel's starting to take the lead on a lot of the projects, and I'm just coaching him from behind, with the goal being January 5th, I think is the actual official day that Joel will take over as the fire marshal. And that has to do with the going from shift cycle to day cycles. I did introduce him at the city council meeting last Monday and gave them a little spiel. That will be the only meeting they have this month. Their last meeting on the 28th is just to approve bills. It's usually 4 or 5 minute meeting. And that's pretty typical for the city. The city did lose one council member. Alicia Rule got elected to a higher position. And so she has submitted her resignation immediately. Matter of fact, her email was returned. That's how immediate she resigned from that board. And let's see. Did I mention last month about the van that you had agreed to loan? Yeah, they didn't end up using it. Okay, I couldn't remember if I did that. So that's all going fine. And so the goal would be that in January, my hours will start to taper off dramatically. And hopefully by February or March, I should be retired again. Joel's grabbing, he's got a good grasp of about 85, 90% of it. The mitigation and the concurrency is quite challenging. And Rich has been there since the beginning, and he knows how detailed that gets. And every project's really specific. And so that's the part that's going to take a little bit longer. But we'll get there. We'll get there. And I'll be there to help him. So.
Very good. We appreciate that and fully expect that you will never leave us.
I'm only a block away.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for your report and your help.
You're welcome.
Correspondence. I would have to scroll down. Was there anything? Oh, we had a thank you.
There's a thank you letter.
And which we seem to get on a regular basis, which is nice to know that our crews are doing a great job out there. Next meeting is January 21st. I'm assuming we'll still be Zooming it, but was the proclamation the last one? When did that go through? Was that like the 19th, or when did that? I can't remember anymore.
I thought it was the 14th.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I thought it was the 14th.
Okay. All right. Who knows? I would expect, even if we start immunizing people, that they're going to wait a while to see. Well, it's going to take a long time to immunize enough people to make a difference, but I have a feeling we're going to be social distancing for a while. Does 21st work for everybody regardless?
Pretty sure.
Okay. All right. And then agenda items for the next meeting. Hey, we've got that Blaine Fire Marshal thing going still. We're gonna hopefully finish our audit one of these days.
That's what I'm anticipating, yes.
All right, and then I've also added we're due for a quarterly review of the fire chief per his labor agreement. So I may be reaching out to some of you for input. If you have any specifics for me, I'd appreciate you sending me a quick little email. And then I can figure out a time to meet with the chief and take care of that. And if anyone has a strong desire to be the chairman of the board, January is the time when we hold our board elections. So think about that and think of how we want to move forward next year. And we'll entertain a motion for the chair and vice chair positions for 2021. Anything else? Anyone else have anything for? I feel like I'm almost leaving something out of the future agenda, but can't think of it right now. Document signing. Everyone, that's working out okay for people to get in and or for the chief to track you down. I'm sure it's easier if you can come into the station for him, but and then I'll work with Jenny to get my signature transferred as needed.
Commissioner Bossman, I'll be there in about 6 hours.
I'll see you Monday.
Is that a direct flight?
Yeah, I don't know. Looks sunny. That's
Yeah, pretty bright back there. Anyway, all right. Well, is there any other business before the board? I guess. Wow, this is it for 2020, isn't it? Gosh, I hate to say I'm gonna miss this year, but I don't think I am. But one last note: Chief Vanderveen's birthday today. Congratulations and happy birthday!
thanks.
Happy birthday.
And happy holidays to everyone. Hope you have a safe holiday and don't have plans to invite 50 of your best friends over to share this year. But yeah,
Sounds like we'd be safer to do that here than you would there.
boy, I tell you, it's most people are behaving themselves, but obviously there's a ton that aren't. So I've been out in the desert camping way away from people. It's been perfect. So anyway, all right. Well, happy holidays to everyone. With no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
To approve.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Kathy, thank you for keeping an eye on us. We certainly appreciate having someone like